Let's talk about the power of the gain, though. So this stuff's the gold right here. This is what I want to share with you. Okay, living in the gain means measuring backwards instead of forward. And I don't mean going backwards. I mean, again, looking back to say, wow, okay, hey, this is my third, I would say, full year in coaching. Look what I've been able to accomplish. That's what I'm looking at. Not looking at, well, geez, these other guys, they're way ahead of me. I've said this stuff. Well, they're a lap ahead of me. I'm focusing on them. Focus on me. Measuring backward instead of forwards, okay? Tracking progress, not perfection. Building confidence through evidence, all right? So the gain builds belief, all right? And belief is what drives everything, okay? How do you live in the gain? Well, first you drink some coffee and you track daily wins. What did I do today that moved me forward? One of the lines in here was, he told a story about a rowing team that they had a new program. They were horrible. They weren't going to win anything. I'm butchering this, but they decided to have one focus on everything they did. They asked themselves, will it make the boat go faster? And if the answer was yes, they would do it. If the answer was no, they moved on. Will it make the boat go faster? And they ended up winning the whole thing they were competing in that year, coming from nothing. Okay, so what did I do today that moved me forward? What moved the needle? That's daily wins. How about weekly reflection? Where was I 7 days ago? Where was I 7 days ago? And then year over year thinking. Who was I a year ago versus today? Think about that. I'll just give you a second while I take another sip of my coffee. Think about where you were a year ago. Think about where you're at today. And then finally, stacking evidence, okay? Confidence equals proof that you're progressing. All right? You don't need to build confidence by thinking, okay? It's not how you do it, right? You build it by recognizing what you've already done. Right? Last week or earlier this week, action creates confidence, not the other way around. So you hear me talk a lot about standards, right? This isn't about lowering standards. Well, Bob says be woo-woo measure. Oh, so good when you look at how you've done, how far you've come. Don't look at the goalpost. That's not what I'm saying, okay? All right? It's not about getting soft. It isn't about lowering your standards, okay? You still aim forward. You'll still hear me say, world domination, baby, world domination. But you measure backward progress. Like, okay, this is where I was a year ago. I did this exercise. In the book, you'll end up doing it for 10 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago, 90 days ago, all right? And then even since yesterday, measuring the gains, living in the gains, okay? How does this change things? More fulfillment, more consistency, less burnout, better leadership, and more gratitude. You're just in a better headspace all the way around, okay?